but I'll tell you now. Oh, yeah, for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent. Oh, 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 oh. Love is the reason you were born that day. Love is the answer, and its light show the way. 'Cause I'll tell you now, you're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent.
Living homeless in a place where I share all the space. I'm grateful for what I've got, but it challenges me a lot. Like finding a place to meet clients so I can get off the street. I've got no money in the bank, can't even put gas in the tank. Walking everywhere in the heat leaves me sweaty, not sweet. I'm striving to do better, it's true, but I don't always know what to do. I've got all this value inside me, but it's not always so easy to help other people see I'm a walking golden opportunity. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I don't want a handout, that's not what I'm about. I just need a hand up, a little love to fill my cup. I'm a writer, an artist, and a designer, copywriter, marketer, trainer, and planner. My list of skills runs miles long. You're wondering where I went wrong. I'm in a love-hate relationship with society. I love people, but I don't find it funny the way we value each other by our money. I wish more people could see and agree. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I'm not blaming anyone for my choices. Blaming anyone is pointless. I rejected the corporate plantations here, choosing my child's life over my career. I made my fair share of mistakes. I'm no saint, for heaven's sake. I admit I missed a lot of opportunities due to my fears and insecurities. But my current financial condition is at least in part due to my mission to put people over profits in life, accepting that this will cause me strife. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I've spent decades searching for truth, breaking free of lies I believed in my youth. I'm no longer eager to participate in a system designed to discriminate. I guess what I'm trying to communicate is that this doesn't have to be our fate. Our greatest investment is in one another, valuing each person as a sister or brother. Each person is a gold mine of opportunity. If you know how to find it, it's easy to see. We can end the system of monetary slavery.
Oh.
Hey, all right, everybody. Let me find my proper place. Oof, yeah. Where is it? I am losing it. I'm losing my mind. There we go. Now we have found it. Happiness is around us. Woohoo! Give me just a second. I gotta get back into popping out the chats and getting my work done. Hey, Tom. Woo! I feel that, Tom. I feel that. There are days when I just can't. Something hurts and you just can't get with it. Alright, there we go. Everything is back to normal. Happiness is here. Oh, I need to mute myself so it doesn't irritate me. It's a little disconcerting when you hear yourself on a slight delay. So, yeah, I try not to keep that up too much. Woof! Waiting on the mail to run to get your parts for the guitar you're working on. Tell me about the guitar, Jeff. Hey, Cal, good to see you. How's the cat? Ubi wants to know. Oh, you know what helps? You know what really probably helps a lot is if I point my microphone at my face instead of at the desktop. We are 100% professional here. No questions asked. And because it is the first stream of the year, I'm going to do something a little different this stream. We're going to start from the beginning, and I'm just going to read it straight through, which means that if you think closely about things, you'll catch some probable things that we should fix later on. Normally, this is interactive. Normally, you guys get to vote on what we're doing. But I thought to start off the year, we would just spend the time recapping and reading through what we've created. So, welcome to the chat, everybody, Mortis Ironcage said as he potted up his microphone and plucked his green and gold Reaper from its resting place beside his desk. How's everybody doing tonight? His eyes scanned the chat logs. Hawkeye still hadn't shown up. That made 2 streams in a row his best friend missed. And Hawkeye never missed a stream. He tried to disguise his worry. Was there something wrong with Hawkeye? He made a mental note to reach out over Discord after the stream was over. He'd not seen him on the server lately either, though. Maybe it was time to pick up the phone. Hey there, Lauren, Tomaton, Graham, Seymour, Chase, Roach, Death, he said, listing off the names as they filed into his chat room. Good to see ya. How have you been? He reached over to let his monkey spin out of its cage. The monkey climbed up on his shoulder and began chittering in his ear as he warmed up. It was challenging to play with the monkey on his back, but it did seem to draw in viewers, so it was a compromise he was willing to make. Viewers were hard enough to come by on GuitarTube, and everything he could do to set himself apart from the other members of the community was one more advantage he could give himself. Hawkeye and he had been working together on some collaborations to improve both their channels' viewership, but that was before Hawkeye disappeared on him. Now he didn't know what to think. Hey, Sparky! Hawkeye hit the button to fire off his chat room voting system and let the viewers pick a song from his rotation. It was nice to be able to give some interaction with those who showed up, a way to co-collaborate. They chose a backing track and he put it into play, allowing his worries to drift away as he poured himself into the music. Covers, impromptu play sessions over backing tracks, and little riffs between songs were all things his live streams were known for providing the viewers, along with Sven, the little pick-thieving monkey he'd picked up on a trip to Costa Rica. 2 hours later, he said his goodbyes to everyone and stood up to stretch. The long streams were hard on his back. Spin screamed at him, demanding food, so he walked into the kitchen to grab the monkey a banana, passing by a growing stack of unpaid bills on the dining room table. Streaming was great, he thought. Too bad the money didn't match the joy he found in doing it. He needed to work on changing that. He didn't want to give up streaming, but it wasn't easy on the pocketbook for sure. He returned to his computer after grabbing some food and popped into the Discord server. Hawkeye hadn't been on in days, according to the data. What do you think, Spin? What's going on with Hawkeye? Spin chittered at him for a moment before he returned his attention to the banana. Good call, Spin. You're probably right, he said, as if the monkey provided some kind of meaningful conversation. He picked up his phone and tried to dial Hawkeye's number. It was never too late to call a brother. The phone went straight to voicemail. He popped into Discord. Anybody seen Hawkeye around, he asked. Not since last week when he streamed. Seymour told him he seemed upset about something. He missed this week's stream too, Lauren chimed in. That's not like him. He's probably just blowing off steam or something. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Want me to stop by and check on him? Lauren offered. He lives across town from me. Would you mind? Mortis asked. I just want to know the dude's okay. He's not even answering the phone when I call. It just goes straight to voicemail. You worry too much, man, Seymour said. He's just chill. He'll be back when he's ready. Lauren gave a frowny face emoji. I think we should check on him anyway. Tomatin's name went active in chat. Nah, man, I think he's dodging you, Mortis. That statement took Mortis by surprise. Me? Why? Tomatin answered. He said he didn't want to talk about it, just was upset about what you'd done. Mortis felt confused. What did I do? Tomatin responded, I don't know, man. He didn't want to talk about it. Seymour chimed into the conversation. Just let him go, man. If people don't want to hang, you can't make them. Anger rose up in Mortis. He's my friend, man. You could at least have told me what I did to upset him. This is bull hockey. Lauren spoke up. I'll ask him about it when I drop by. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. All right, so that was where we started. Now we're going on to chapter 2. An unexpected shipment. Mortis wandered down to the post box of his apartment to check the mail. A large box was propped up against his box with his name on it. I wasn't expecting anything. I wonder who sent this, he mused as he picked up the box after grabbing the mail. We can remove that duplicate. He carried everything upstairs. He dropped the box on his bed and searched for his pocket knife. He inspected the shipping notification for a hint as to who sent it and why, but all it had was the name of a company he didn't recognize. Weird. He shrugged and chalked it up to the possibility that he'd forgotten about some contest he'd entered, and maybe he'd won something. He whistled as he opened the box. Damn. He reached inside and inspected the contents. Now, this is where you guys contributed, so if it sounds funky, this was all y'all. The box contained a clay mold of an Arctic monkey god, along with 3 ounces of catnip and a bunch of military-grade weapons. He froze. What the heck, man? He'd not received a shipment like this in more than 20 years. He decided to check out the company name on the box, hoping to find some clues as to who might have sent it. The company name was in Chinese. He was a bit rusty on the translation, but he thought it worked out to Ding Jang Dao. An internet search showed it to be an international trading company, but not a lot more data. He flipped through the About section on the site, and his eyes spotted a familiar face. Someone from his military days. His former chief petty officer, Mike Daniels. This was no ordinary package. This was a call to a mission. But he'd retired. Of course, did one ever really retire from his line of work? He sighed. First Hawkeye, now this. He picked up the phone and dialed a number he thought he'd never call again. Mike? In the flesh. You got my package? Mike's voice sounded tired. Yeah, you could have given me a heads up. I wasn't expecting it, Mortis chided. That's the point. Plausible deniability. If the package went missing, you'd never know. If you received it, I trusted you figure out what to do about it, Mike explained. I'm retired, Mortis objected. Not anymore. You know the drill. Your country needs you, Mike said. His voice held a note of unrelenting steel. What about what I need? Mortis asked, knowing the answer to the question. What you need is irrelevant, soldier. Your orders are inside the mold, Mike said. You gotta take care of my monkey? Mortis demanded. Your what? Mike asked. My monkey, Spin. I got him a few years back. I ain't leaving him behind without someone to care for him, Mortis insisted. No, I'm not gonna care for your monkey. But he might come in handy. I'll tell you what, I'll toss in a ticket for the monkey, Mike conceded. You can bring him along. So what's the catnip for? Mortis asked. Thought you had a cat, Mike said. I used to. Angus died a few years ago, but thanks for thinking of him, Mortis said. Sorry about that, man. Guess you can give it to the monkey, Mike said before hanging up. Mortis frowned. Man, this is gonna wreck my stream. I'm too old for this crap. He pulled open the mold. There, tucked inside it, was a small envelope, granting him secure access to a server, a login, and a unique identifier to use in logging into it. 15 minutes later, his eyebrows rose. This wasn't just any mission. It was a rescue mission. And the subject of the rescue? Hawkeye. No wonder his friend hadn't been active in Discord. He was in real trouble. And Lauren, just by visiting his house, could be in trouble too. The people who kidnapped Hawkeye were bound to be watching his place, just looking to catch anyone associated with Hawkeye. He began loading the guns into an empty guitar case. Sorry, Celeste, he said to his favorite guitar. I'm gonna need to borrow this for a while. I got a mission to complete. Spin hopped up on the bed beside the box and peered inside before looking up at Mortis. Yeah, no monkey business for you, my boy, Mortis told him, plucking out the catnip before shutting the box and setting it in his closet. Have some catnip. Mortis wasn't sure catnip had the same effect on monkeys that it did on cats, but Spin seemed amused by it. He left the monkey to his devices while he focused on the real problem, rescuing Hawkeye. He tossed a few things into a suitcase. There were just 2 things he needed to include: his J-rig system and his portable guitar. The portable guitar was an invention of his that could collapse down and be folded into a carry-on luggage container without worries about being damaged. The J-rig would allow him to stream any time he had internet access and time. He wasn't sure he'd get the time or the opportunity, but it was his best hope. At the very least, with his guitar in the system, he'd be able to keep creating channel content. People wouldn't suspect he was away from home, and that might make all the difference in his mission's success. Hang in there, brother, I'm coming for you, he said as he finished up and tucked Spin into his cage for the night before setting his alarm for 2 a.m. That only gave him 4 hours of sleep before he had to be up and getting himself out the door to the airport, but it would have to do. Alright, so that was a lot of crazy. Touchdown. And it's only going to get crazier from here, fair warning. Chapter 3, Touchdown, Nashville. It was hours before dawn when Mortis arrived at the Des Moines airport. He slid through security without a single hitch. The attendants looked bored and tired, but they inevitably cheered up at the sight of Spin, who gave them a monkey grin. He boarded the plane with Spin at 5 a.m. that morning, bound for Nashville, Tennessee. The intel they had on the last known whereabouts of the kidnappers showed they'd taken Hawkeye into the national park around Mammoth Caves. It was a perfect hiding spot, easy to get lost if you didn't know exactly where you were going. The question on Mortis's mind, why Hawkeye? What was he involved in that made him a target? The people who had him were well known in the arms dealing ecosystem. How had Hawkeye gotten tangled up with them? Spin slept through the flight, getting agitated only a little on takeoff before settling back down. The anxiety Mortis felt about the whole thing kept him from doing the same, not to mention the kid who seemed determined to kick the back of his seat every 5 minutes. Kids, man, he said, as he struggled to keep his irritation from spilling out. He'd never been so glad to get off a plane as he was that morning. He collected Spin as soon as the plane landed, grabbed his carry-on, and headed toward baggage claim. He waited as the luggage began slowly making its way onto the carousel, but when the last item loaded from the plane, he growled a bit in frustration. That's fantastic. They've lost my luggage. That luggage contained the guns for his mission and the clothes on his back. Now how was he supposed to get Hawkeye back? All he had left was the carry-on with his portable guitar and the J-rig. Freaking fantastic! He headed toward the service department, pulling his permit out of his wallet as he went. Try explaining that cargo to their claims department. He wasn't the only one, apparently. There was quite a line at the counter. He sighed and stepped out of line, went outside, and pulled his cell phone from his front pocket. He sent a quick text. Mike, we've got a problem. Hey, it's Malachi. Good to see you. Give me a call when you get this. It took all of about 5 minutes before Mike called him. What's up? The luggage is missing, my man. Every single thing I packed. The stuff you sent me, it's all gone, he explained. Mike dropped an F-bomb. All right, give me 20 minutes. I'll tell you where the next drop point is. Mortis sighed. Should I bother filing a claim? Mike guffawed. Yeah, go ahead. The military still loves paperwork, and it proves you didn't mishandle what was sent to you. Mortis walked back into the airport. Spin chittered in his carrier, so Mortis let him out. The monkey climbed up on his shoulder and wrapped his tail around Mortis's neck, content to sit there and observe. He handed the monkey a banana while they waited. And waited. And waited. The lady at the counter stared at him with glazed eyes. He was fairly certain she did not have any cares in the world left to give him. "How may I help you, sir?" she asked, while pulling a form out of a desk and sliding it across the counter. "They lost my luggage," she explained. "If you'll fill out the form I just handed you, we'll be happy to try and retrieve that for you. In the meanwhile," she said, pulling out a tiny bag of toiletries and handing it to him, "here's an essentials kit." Mortis stared at the kit, then stared at her. "Lady, I don't think this is going to help do anything for me," he said, handing it back. "What's in this won't help me with my essential tasks." "I'm sorry to hear that, sir," she said as she handed him the clipboard. "Please fill out the form and return it to me. We'll do our best to return your luggage as soon as possible." He spent the next 10 minutes filling out the form she'd requested and another 30 minutes waiting in line to return the form to her. His phone beeped with a message from Mike containing information about where to pick up his replacement supplies. By the time all was said and done, it was approaching noon. He headed to the rental car counter, stomach rumbling. "Spin, remind me again why I agreed to this mess." Spin chittered noisily in response. The rental car staff member looked as frazzled as he felt. "Yes, sir, how may I help you?" "I have a reservation for a rental vehicle," he said as he slid over the paperwork Mike sent in his email. Well, there's been a problem with that," the attendant said with a grimace. "A problem?" Mortis asked. "Yes. We're all out of the reserved fleet vehicles the government allows. All we've got left is one e-bike," he explained. "But I promise it's top of class." Mortis stared at the man. "You've got to be kidding me." The attendant shook his head. "I'm afraid not, sir. I'm afraid not." "How am I supposed to put this carry-on myself and the monkey on an e-bike?" he growled, his patience thinning. "We can affix a basket to it if you prefer," the attendant suggested helpfully. Mortis couldn't wait for this day to be over. If this was how the rest of the assignment was going to go, he hoped Hawkeye wasn't planning to be rescued anytime soon. "Fine, I'll take it." He watched as the attendant affixed a 2-slot basket to the bike before strapping his carry-on to one side and Spin's carrier to the other. He mounted the bike as he asked, "Can this day get any worse?" As if in answer to his question, it began to rain. Not a small, slow, gentle rain, but the kind that left him and Spin soaking wet by the time they arrived at the new drop point. He dismounted from the bike, stinking of wet monkey, with Spin angrily tugging at his hair. "Great! How do I get that on the e-bike?" he said, eyeing the metal trunk containing the replacement stash they'd provided him. He sighed. "I really am getting too old for this." He pulled out his phone and ordered a ride share to the hotel. "They better reimburse me for this." He stood in the pouring rain, with no umbrella, and decided to film a quick YouTube video about his day. "Never ask questions to which you do not sincerely want the answers," he said into the camera. "Today, I dared to ask how much worse my day could get, and immediately found out." He turned his camera around so they could see the drenched Finn and himself standing in the rain beside the e-book. "And this is the best the rental car could do for me. Some days you win, some days you spin." He posted it to YouTube while he waited for the rideshare to arrive. Let's put it back up. Let's post it to Guitar Tube. Since that's what we called it earlier, let's be consistent. Chapter 4, To the Hotel. The rideshare driver arrived prepared, pulling out a sheet of plastic to throw over the upholstery before Mortis took his seat. He hitched the e-bike to the back of his vehicle and tucked Mortis's luggage in the trunk. "There's a towel waiting for you in the center console, sir," the man said. Mortis felt grateful for the attention to detail the man showed. It was the only bright spot in an otherwise dismal day. They arrived at the motel on the outskirts of town without any further incident, and Mortis left the man his last $10 as a tip, along with a glowing review. It was the best way he knew to show his appreciation. "Hello again." "Good to see you, Tom." "Oh my goodness." The hotel attendant looked like an interesting character. Bright pink hair, bubblegum lipstick, black corset, and a white blouse over bright pink pants and black combat boots. The gender wasn't entirely clear to him, but that just meant the attendant would have fit in at any of the concerts Mortis attended in the 80s. "Can I help you?" she, or he, or whatever, asked as he stepped forward. "I've got a room reservation," he said, showing the email printout. The attendant stared at the paper and then began typing into the computer before looking back at him. "Yes, I see the reservation. It's too early, I'm afraid, to allow for check-in. However, I'll be happy to let you store your things behind the counter." No chance of an early check-in? Mortis found his hopes plummeting. All he wanted was to get into the room and relax. The attendant shook its head. "Afraid not, sweetie. We've had a full house last night, and it's going to take our girls quite a bit of time to get the rooms cleaned up." "Just my luck," he grumbled. "If you'd like, you can wait it out in our little restaurant over there. I'm sure they'll be happy to seat you," the attendant recommended. Mortis thought about his empty wallet and shook his head. "Thanks, but no thanks." He watched as the attendant stored his items behind the counter and then turned to head back outside. The attendant stopped him before he left. "There's a train station just a little beyond here. If you care to go into the city, you can catch a ride." Mortis mumbled, "Thanks." He headed to the train station, not because he intended to go anywhere, but because they offered benches and the walk was at least something to do. His stomach rumbled, reminding him that it had been nearly 10 hours since his last meal. Spin rested his head on Mortis's, and his silence told Mortis all he needed to know about the monkey's morale. Spin was likely every bit as hungry as he was. He thought about texting Mike to ask for some cash for the road, but felt ashamed to admit that his bank account was about as dry as the Sahara. Streaming wasn't bringing in the money he'd hoped, and his efforts to find work were not panning out. This trip, this mission, was the only thing that had come along in quite some time. The sounds of music and a driving drum beat reached his ears as he drew closer to the station. Intrigued, he sped up his pace. This might just be the best thing to happen to him yet. Even Spin seemed to perk up, chittering a bit at him. There was a large stage just outside the train station with several musicians in costume playing their hearts out. Mortis pulled out his phone to start recording, only to get a notification that it was at 20% charge. Yikes! When in strange places, Mortis learned that a charged phone could be a lifesaver, but his charger was back at the hotel. Yes, I know, poor Spin. Oh my goodness. The banner over the stage gave the band's name, Natural Disaster, which Mortis found entirely fitting for the day. He shook his head in amusement. He stayed on the outskirts of the crowd, not moving any closer. The rock ballads blasting from the speakers were enough to drown out the faint sounds of tornado sirens in the background. When no one else reacted, he wondered if the sirens were real or were just part of the band's sound. That's when his eyes strayed to the skies, and he noticed the telltale signs of a fledgling tornado beginning to form. The dark skies overhead began taking on an eerie green to them, just as Mortis's phone went off with a weather alert. Mortis wondered how many in the crowd closest to the stage could hear it. He frowned as he started jogging toward the train station. It looked sturdy, built of stone, but nowhere near large enough to handle as many people as there were in the crowd. A pang of guilt struck him. If he didn't alert these people to the danger coming and help get as many to the shelter as possible, he'd have to live with the guilt of that. But given how many there were and how little time he had to do anything about it, how many could he save? He looked for something that he could use to grab attention, just as a gust of wind tore through the banner on the stage and ripped down some of the awnings. Spin screeched and tugged his hair. "I know, little guy, I know, we gotta go do something." He decided to grab the attention of a young couple closest to him. He couldn't help everyone, but he could help those closest to him. "There's a storm coming, head to the shelter." The couple stared at him, uncomprehending, until they looked up at the sky. Their eyes widened and they nodded, running in the direction of the station. Mortis moved toward the next couple. "Spin, grab someone for me." Spin jumped off his shoulder and ran into the crowd, darting where Mortis couldn't go. The crowd in front of him began to clear out as the first fingers of the coming storm approached the ground. Stiff winds snapped tree limbs overhead, and the band stopped playing. Spin and he reunited as the crowd parted, everyone heading in a different direction. Mortis remained on course, fighting against the winds that pushed against him as he moved toward the train station. He should have checked the weather before leaving the hotel, he chided himself. Too late for that now. Mortis didn't quite make it to the train station before the wind swept him off his feet and he landed hard on his back. I'm gonna feel that in the morning, he grumbled once he got his breath back. He fumbled for his wallet, desperate for anything to help him, and pulled out the one thing his mother gave him before she died. It was a credit card-sized rosary. She swore by its ability to save you from any crisis, and if there was ever a crisis that needed saving, this was it. It had been a long time since Mortis last recited the rosary, and he could barely remember the prayers, but hastily began reciting them as the sounds of rushing wind blasted his eardrums like an oncoming train. Everything around him rocked back and forth, and he felt himself lift into the air. Spin clung to him for dear life, nearly strangling him with the tail around his neck. Chapter 5, The Treetop View. Hey, TSA! Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to see everybody here today. Mortis somehow managed to keep hold of the rosary as he rotated in air before finding himself deposited high off the ground in the top of a tree as the tornado went on its merry way. Great! Now what? Mortis peered down. There had to be a minimum of 20 feet between him and the ground below. No chance he was going to jump down. Spin, however, seemed quite happy with where they were. He detached his stranglehold on Mortis and climbed out onto a branch nearby. A few hundred swear words came to mind as Mortis struggled to keep his grip. The winds were calmer but not still, and the swaying was making him feel a bit queasy. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and then studied the branches beneath him more closely. It wouldn't be easy, but he could, with a lot of work, get down a branch at a time. Painstaking step by painstaking step, he managed to make the climb down. Spin followed him, chittering as if in encouragement. Then came the hard part. The very last branch seemed to be about 5 feet off the ground. Not a great height, but not an easy jump either. Still, there was no hope for it. If he wanted out of the tree, and he assuredly did, he was gonna have to jump for it. He leapt down and felt the toes on his left foot bend in ways they weren't meant to. He knew, even without looking, he'd broken something. Pain radiated from the point where his toes connected to his foot. I'd complain, but I'm alive, he told Spin, and I wasn't sure I was gonna be. The walk back to the motel was slow and agonizing. He didn't have enough power in his phone to call anyone. He was tempted to ask how much worse this day could get, but remembering his earlier experiences, decided not to. Never ask questions which you don't want answered, he reminded himself. The debris field from where the tornado swept through, whoop, you misspelled tornado, congratulations, woohoo! The debris field from where the tornado swept through was, to say the least, impressive. The train station was intact, but the stage and the cars in the parking lot were tipped on their sides and flung over as if a giant toddler came through the room. He hoped his motel was still standing. He really did not want to think about trying to find another, and he was all out of money to call for another rideshare. Besides, his guitar, his J-rig, and his new equipment were all back there. Floyd Rose on the Jackson, huh? All right. A walk that should have taken 15 minutes took him an hour as he limped along. He made his way inside the doors and found the lobby deserted. He reached forward to ring the bell, and the attendant popped its head over the counter. You look like heck, it announced to him. We're still assessing damages, and the computer's down right now. But I can get your room if you like. Mortis sighed with relief. Yes, please. He could feel his foot swelling in his boot and prepared himself for a highly uncomfortable night. It took another 30 minutes before he got his room key. Fortunately, we still have these old-fashioned keys, the attendant said. If we'd installed the new keyless locks, you'd have had to wait until the computers came back online to check in. Glad you didn't get the switch made, he said, collecting his gear and making his way down the hallway. For once, I'm glad, too, the attendant said. It's a pain ordinarily, but it'll make sure I can keep doing my job for now. When he got into his room, the first thing he did was fish out his wall charger and plug in his phone. He sat on the bed and attempted to ease his boot off his foot so he could inspect the damage. The boot wouldn't budge. His foot was too swollen. Fantastic! He decided to use the downtime while waiting for the phone to charge to pull out his guitar and record some footage. No need to miss out on the opportunities of the moment. Besides, the music might just take his mind off the foot. He assembled the portable guitar and locked the frame in place in a matter of minutes. Getting the J-rig set up was a matter of pushing the power button, logging into the motel's free wireless, and hitting play. Before he knew it, he was recording a few licks. He was grateful his interface didn't make a lot of noise. He didn't want to disturb his neighbors. As he finished up his playthrough, he heard a sound that let him know his phone was finished charging. He thought about calling an ambulance. He thought about trying, again, to pull up his boot and tape up those toes himself. In the end, he settled on doing neither. He placed a call to Mike. "Dude, you're never gonna believe what's happened to me," he started. Mike listened in silence. "You've got to be kidding me." "I wish I was, dude. I wish I was," Mortis said. Mike sighed. "Let me order you some pizza and some beer. I'll send over our doc and have him look at your foot. I'll put 20 on your account. You can watch some pay-per-view while you wait." Mortis liked the sound of that. "Dude, you just made my day. Only one question. Can you send over some bananas for the monkey?" Mike chuckled. "Yeah, I think I can scrounge up some monkey food." "You sure he wouldn't eat pizza and beer?" Mortis shook his head. "He might, but it wouldn't be good for either of us if he did. Don't ask me how I know." Mike snorted. "Save that story for another time. We've still got a mission to finish." Mortis groaned. "Don't I know it? Any updates on Hawkeye's location?" Mike's tone shifted. "No, the chatter's gone quiet." Mortis leaned back and closed his eyes. A notification on his phone told him that Mike's $20 arrived, so he pulled out the remote and searched for something to watch. He ended up settling on Die Hard, followed by more traditional holiday specials like Peanuts, Garfield, and his personal favorite, the claymation Rudolph. Pizza and beer arrived in the middle of Die Hard. The doctor arrived just as he was starting Peanuts. "Dude, you're him," the doctor said, eyes wide as Mortis opened the door. Yeah, I'm who?" Mortis asked, confused. "You're Mortis the Mad Musician. I watch your YouTube channel all the time. I'm Dr. Demented. Whoops. Let's say guitar too." "I'm Dr. Demented," the man said, sticking his hand out. "I'm a big fan." Mortis grinned and shook the man's hand in return. "You're one of a handful. Glad to meet you, though. Come on in," he said, stepping back to let the man in. "Hear you got some problems with your foot," the doctor said as Mortis dropped into the bed. "Yep, foot's too swollen to get my boot off right now, but I think I broke some toes jumping out of the tree," he told the doctor. "What were you doing in the tree?" The man looked at him with a puzzled expression on his face. "Funny story that. I was gonna save it for my next stream, but what the heck," he said as he grabbed a beer. The doctor pulled out a pocket knife and set to work freeing Mortis's foot from the confines of the boot. The toes were purple and fat as sausages. "You did quite a number on them. Wiggle 'em for me, would ya?" Mortis stared at his foot and wiggled the toes. It hurt, but he was able to do it. "Guess they aren't broken, then?" The doctor shook his head. "Nah, you being able to wiggle 'em just means there's no nerve damage, dude. I'll be back with my portable x-ray so we can see the extent of the damage here in about 10 minutes. "Portable x-ray, huh?" Mortis mused. "I didn't even know those were a thing." "You'd be amazed at what you can get your hands on when the military's bankrolling your operation," the doctor said with a grin. All right. Boop-a-doo. That was where we were doing some planning, so now we're on to Chapter 6. Man, we have covered a lot of ground. We are actually started Chapter 12, so this was at the halfway point of the work that you guys have done together with me. The story's pretty crazy, but actually enjoyable, so I hope you're enjoying it. Oh my goodness. Concocting a plan. Dr. Demented returned with a portable x-ray just as Mortis was washing a few pain pills down with some beer. It didn't take long for the results to come either. "Yup, you broke 4 of them. Everything on your left foot except your big toe." "That's something," Mortis grumbled. Sven seemed fascinated by the x-ray machine and crept toward it chittering. Mortis scooped him up and put him on his shoulder. "That's not for you, little guy. That thing'll scramble your brains for sure." Dr. Demented grinned at Sven. "Yep, your hair'll fall out and you'll be a bald monkey." Sven wrapped his tail around Mortis's neck and chittered at the doctor as if scolding him. The doctor didn't seem bothered by that in the least. I agree, little man, you wouldn't look good bald. So what's there to do about the toes? Mortis asked. My understanding is you don't have a lot of time to hang out at the hotel as you're on a mission. Given that, we're going to splint and tape them. That'll allow you to move about without too much difficulty. I'll also give you some crutches you can use just in case, he explained. Mortis frowned. I'm not thrilled about that idea. Sighed. The crutches, I mean. Dr. Demented winked. All the better for helping you blend in with the crowds. Nobody's going to take a guy on crutches seriously, are they? Mortis chuckled. Yeah, I'm not exactly going to spook anyone looking decrepit. He wondered how exactly he was supposed to crate around the guns he'd been given and his other supplies while hobbling about on crutches. Things were certainly not going according to any kind of plan that he could see. It was time to think up another plan, one that worked with his current situation rather than against it. The man finished up his taping job and Mortis turned off the TV. The one thing he did that always helped him think up new ideas was to stream, and once Dr. Demented left, that's exactly what he planned on doing. An idea struck him as he watched the doctor cleaning up his supplies. You got another call to get to after this? Dr. Demented shook his head. Nope, yours was the last call of the evening for me. I'm off work. Care to be a special guest on a live stream? Mortis asked the man. Dr. Demented's eyes widened. You serious? That would be too awesome. Mortis nodded. I'm serious. Give me about 5 minutes to set up and you and I can go live right here. Dr. Demented looked around the room confused. But you don't have your equipment. No amps, no pedals, nothing. Mortis grinned and pointed to the laptop. That's my amp and any pedals I need. It's my J-rig. He then pointed to the portable guitar. That's a little guitar I built to fold up and take with me on jobs like these. Pretty cool, huh? Dr. Demented nodded. That's awesome. I can't wait to do this. 5 minutes later, Mortis was live with Dr. Demented sitting on the bed beside him and Sven perched on his shoulder like some kind of furry parrot. He watched his friends file into the chat room and let the music play as the countdown timer began. Welcome to the Mad Musicians off-hour stream with special guest here, Dr. Demented, he said as he potted down the music and pressed the mic's button to talk. We're streaming live from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm marked safe from the tornado that hit here a few hours ago, but sadly, he said, sticking his taped-up toes out toward the camera, got a few busted toes from my efforts. Which, he said to the fans, the good doctor was kind enough to tape up for me. How are y'all doing tonight? The chat was buzzing that night, and the music sounded great. Everyone loved listening to Dr. Demented, and Mortis shared the story of getting to Nashville, checking in, and being blown away, literally, by the atmosphere of the area. The sound came through perfectly, and the portable guitar played like a dream. Plus, a few of the rockers tipped $50, which gave Mortis a bit of much-needed pocket money. He was grateful to them all for the contributions and promised to buy more pizza and beer when he got back home. The stream ended, and Mortis got another idea. Hey, Dr. Demented, one question for you. Dr. Demented turned toward him. Ask away. Can I get a ride to Mammoth Caves in the morning, he asked. His eyebrows rose, and he gave Mortis a thumbs up. You doing the touristy thing, eh? I thought you were on a mission. Mortis chuckled. Mission starts in Mammoth Caves, but you've given me some ideas about what I can do to blend in and get through without drawing unwanted attention. Dr. Demented tilted his head. Oh? What's that? Yes, actually, that's why I named him Dr. Demented. Sparky it's a play off of Dr. Demento. And yes, my sister and brother and I, when I was in 3rd grade, we lived in Wyoming, and we would seriously stay up late just to catch the Dr. Demento show. Our parents didn't know. We were given like those tape players, you know, the radio tape players for Christmas. Basically, my sister got the official boombox that had the one side that you could play and the other side could record. We got the ones that you could just record. So it was not as nice a version as Tiffany or as Darlene got. But it was our favorite show to listen to. It was so full of crazy stuff. I don't think that was a Weird Al thing. I think that was before Weird Al. Actually, give me a pause, because I am going to do a little bit of research. Dr. Demento show. Yeah, it was hosted by the legendary DJ Barry Henson, a nationally syndicated weekly radio program known for its mad music and crazy comedy featuring novelty. No, you're right. You are right, Ted. Featuring novelty songs, comedy records, and obscure music from artists like Weird Al Yankovic, Frank Zappa, and Monty Python. It had a 55-year run. The last episode aired October of 2025. That is insane. Oh my gosh. Wow. You're right, Ted. You're right. Weird Al was on it. Yes, they're coming to take me away. They're coming to take me away. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And the trees and the flowers and the birds and they're coming to take me away. Yes. I loved that. Like I said, my sister and brother and I would stay up late just to catch that show. Oh, goodness. Cal's live was pretty good today. Yeah, I didn't know he was still around either, Sparky. I can't believe that the last show was October 2025. Man, if I'd have known he was still doing his thing, I'd have probably caught that show. Just for the childhood memories part of it. Let's see. Dr. Demented tilted his head. Oh, what's that? Mortis gestured toward the J-rig. I'm a traveling streamer looking for the perfect spot to demonstrate the capacity of my system and to fill some marketing footage I can use for promotions. I doubt anyone who looks at me, the systems, and the foot is gonna doubt me. Dr. Demented nodded. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can get you there. We'll need to leave early, though, man. I gotta be at the office by 9 a.m. to file a report. Mortis gave him a thumbs up. I'll be ready, my man. I'll be ready. All right. And this one we had fun with because we did quite a bit of research to figure out what happened on his trip from Nashville to Mammoth Caves. And if you haven't seen that episode, we actually went and we did the Google search to figure out what roads he would have likely taken. Because I've never been to Mammoth Caves, so I had no idea where all that stuff was taking place. And when you're a writer, one of the worst things you can do is write about a place you've never been to without doing your homework. It's the people that are from there, the people that are familiar with the area, they're going to call you out on it. And they should. They should. So, right. Mortis groaned as the sound of his... Yes, I'm Daryl. This is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl. All right. Mortis groaned as the sound of his alarm went off at 4 a.m. that morning. He didn't want to be up that early, but getting a ride from Dr. Demented required it. He took a shower while Spin chomped on a banana. By 5 a.m., he'd packed his gear and was ready to hit the road. Dr. Demented helped him load everything into his trunk, and they got on their way, headed for Mammoth Caves. Thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it, Mortis said as he and Spin got into the passenger seat. No problem, brother. I'm happy to help, Demented told him with a grin. Besides, it's great to be able to hang out with you in person. I'm a huge fan of your streams. Mortis chuckled. You're one of the few. I've been chugging along, but my stream's kind of stuck at a plateau right now. You'll get there, man. You'll get there, Dr. Demented assured him. You've got a great sound, and I know everyone loves your music. They headed north on I-65 toward Mammoth Caves. Traffic was practically non-existent at this hour. GPS says the trip should only take an hour and 20 minutes or so, Dr. Demented informed him. We should be there in no time. Dr. Demented fired up his playlist on his cell phone, and they cruised along without incident until they spotted a giant sculpture of a fork sticking up from the road. And yes, this is a real thing. You were raised about 30 minutes from Mammoth Cave? That's cool. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Mortis asked. Dr. Demented nodded. A giant fork in the road? Yep. What in the heck, man? People do the strangest things, Mortis commented. As they approached the base of that fork, though, Dr. Demented's car began to wobble, and they heard the all-too-familiar pop of a car tire blowing as the vehicle veered to the right, ending up on the embankment. Whoa, Dr. Demented said. Glad we were out early before the real traffic got started. That could have been bad. No doubt, Mortis said. Let me give you a hand with that tire. You got a spare? Dr. Demented scratched his head. Think so. I usually just call AA. Dr. Demented popped the trunk, and Mortis dug around looking for the things that needed to change the tire. We can be on our way long before AAA gets here if you've got the right stuff. Sadly, Dr. Demented did not have the right stuff. The spare tire was itself flat, and the wrench used to remove the lug nuts was missing from the trunk. Mortis sighed. Guess you can call AAA. Sven and I are going to go inspect that fork. Mortis allowed Sven to climb up on his shoulder and grab the crutches, hobbling his way over to the fork. Unbelievable. There was no placard, no explanation. Just a date, 2018, stamped on the fork's base. Black Angus cows milled about the field around its base. Mortis shook his head. The things people do. Boredom is the only explanation I can think of for this. He pulled out his cell phone and took a selfie with Sven and the fork. We're at a fork in the road, he labeled it before posting it. Yes. Yeah, and his daughter Georgette. His phone buzzed with a text message from Dr. Demented. AAA is on their way. Mortis found it difficult navigating the terrain with the crutches and hunching over to keep them under his arms was straining his back as well as rubbing a groove in his armpits. Mortis arrived at the car just in time for AAA to make its appearance. The guy getting out of the car was dressed in a neon yellow safety vest and hat. He took the wrench and went to remove the lug nuts from the tire so they could swap it out and paused. Do you have the lug nut key for your lug nuts, sir? Dr. Demented looked at Mortis and blinked. Then he looked at the man from AAA. Lug nut key? The man nodded. Yes, sir. Each vehicle of this make and model has a unique key you must use to get the lug nuts off the car. Do you know where yours is? Dr. Demented shook his head. Dude, I didn't even know there was one, and I wouldn't know where to begin looking. Try your glove compartment, sir. It might be with the instruction manual and other items the dealer provided to you, the man suggested. Dr. Demented sighed. I bought it used, man. I doubt any of the original factory items are in there, but I'll try. Mortis helped Dr. Demented look through the vehicle. No key. No sign of a key. Dr. Demented muttered, No good deed goes unpunished, before turning back to the AAA assistant. No luck, man. What do we do now? He asked. We'll have to go to the nearest car repair center to get a key. Then we can come back, remove the tire, and put a new tire on, the man informed the doctor. Oh, man, I gotta be at work in 2 hours, the doctor said. There's a dealership for your vehicle's make and model, a 20-minute drive from here, and an AutoZone across the road from that. We should be able to make it there and back and get you on the road in no time, the man assured Dr. Demented. Morticus could feel his back killing him and just wanted to sit down, but he decided to make himself useful instead. You stay with the car, Demented. I'll go with the tech here and help him get what we need. Dr. Demented looked absolutely dejected. Sure, whatever, man. How much worse, he started to say. Don't ask, man. Don't ask, Mortis warned him. I asked, and things went from lost luggage and caught in the pouring rain bad day to tornado in a tree bad day. You don't want to know. And it's true. This is my advice to you, sincerely and honestly. If ever you have temptation to ask yourself, how much worse can things be? Don't say the words, because I promise you that you will be given the opportunity to find out just how much worse things could be. That's from long experience. Chapter 8, Past the Fork in the Road. I cannot believe that we have been reading for almost an hour, and we haven't even gotten as far as we have made it in writing it. We're about 4 chapters out from the end of where we've written. Chapter 8, Past the Fork in the Road. To Mortis' surprise and delight, they got 10 minutes down the road when he got a text from Dr. Demented. I found the lug nut key. Come back. He informed the technician, and they made a hasty exit in order to turn around. 15 minutes later, they arrived and were able to get the lug nuts off and the tire loaded in the vehicle. We'll be back in 20 minutes with a new tire, he assured Dr. Demented. And for once, everything went exactly as it was supposed to go, and they really were back on the road in 30 minutes. Thanks for everything, man, Dr. Demented said as the technician finished his work. Heck of a start to the morning, Mortis commented as they all got back into the vehicle and he tucked Sven into his carrier. Tucked Sven into his character. Nice. Sorry for all the trouble. Just a great story to tell about the time I gave a ride to the mad musician of streaming, Dr. Demented said with a grin. It'll be epic. Hope I don't make you late for your morning rounds, Mortis said. He felt guilty for all the trouble he'd caused with what should have been a simple request. Meh. We should be at the Mammoth Caves in 44 minutes, and I should be back to work by 8:45. That's the reason I left so early. I like to give myself plenty of time for things to go wrong, Dr. Demented said. Good thing you did, Mortis agreed. He shut his eyes for a moment and let himself get lost in Dr. Demented's playlist. Oh my goodness. The melodies from the hottest of the 80s and 90s rock music helped. He didn't realize he'd drifted off to sleep until he heard Dr. Demented tell him, Yo, dude, we're here. He woke up, stretched, and yawned. They unpacked at the parking lot leading to the cave entrance, and Mortis shouldered his pack as well as Sven's carrier. Thanks again, man. Dr. Demented gave him a salute. Best of luck to you, man. Mortis found a park bench to sit down and pulled up the cave's website, checking out pricing and tour options. Fat man's misery? No thanks, he muttered as he pulled up one tour option and witnessed the exceedingly tight spaces required for him to fit through. Requires 42-inch circumference? Definitely not going on that tour, he said, shaking his head. How am I supposed to find Hawkeye and the gang in all this area, he pondered, trying to figure out the best way to solve the problem in the least amount of time. Newhart was a great comedy show. The Mammoth Caves National Park was free to enter, but massive to comb through. Idea, Spin? Asked the monkey as he let him out of the carrier to climb onto his shoulder. Spin just grinned at him and wrapped his tail around his neck. Thanks for being so helpful, he muttered. An idea hit him. Maybe he could stream a bit from here and see if anyone in his group happened to be nearby. Could he recruit help that way? He wasn't sure, but it wouldn't hurt to check, and it might give him other ideas while he streamed. Pulling out the J-rig and the portable guitar, he got to work setting up near an overlook. Then he prayed that the internet would hold for this as he hit the Go Live button. Whew. Got one more chapter we'll probably be able to make it through, and then we're going to be at an end to the stream. My goodness. And we didn't even make it all the way. That's so funny. It's hard to believe that we've covered this much ground with just like basically a chapter a week. But it adds up. And that's something I would encourage you guys to consider. Writing doesn't have to be this long, tedious thing. If you can just sit down and do a chapter a week, you'll eventually be through. Chapter 9, Making the Impossible Possible. This is the Mad Musician coming to you live from just outside of Mammoth Caves, he told his rockers as the stream started. He had no idea what he was going to say or how he would manage to talk about Hawkeye's situation without giving it all away, without giving away what he's really doing there. Then an idea came to him. We're about to go on an impromptu scavenger hunt here at Mammoth Cave National Park. We need a little help from you all to find the items on our list. He ran down a list of items, all related to Hawkeye. The leather biker's vest with the orange monkey pin on it. The silver pair of spandex that he bought back in the 80s when they were both a lot younger, crazier, and more slender. The guitar strap with the silver skulls and the red roses embossed on it. The stories around these items were all things he'd talked about in chat at some point in time, and he hoped that the community would pick up on it. These things are all hidden somewhere in Mammoth Caves, friends, and it's our job to find and bring them back home. Then he came to his point. I need you, brothers and sisters, because quite frankly, there are parts of this cave system I can't navigate, and this hunt is timed. The winner of the hunt gets a custom 1961 Gibson Les Paul SG held by my very dear friend and compatriot, you know who I'm talking about, and will be awarded when all items on the list are returned intact and undamaged. As he was talking, another idea began to form in his mind. I'll be putting up a page on my website with additional information about the scavenger hunt as well as directions for where the items can be turned over. Stay tuned and let's rock this. He gave himself over to his music, letting the sound rip through his concern, anxiety, and fears of not being able to find Hawkeye in time. He could feel his head clearing and his pulse calming as the sound of the rock music filled his ears. He tried to remind himself that Hawkeye and he'd been through worse long before they were streamers. They would get through this too. He decided to close the stream with an invitation. If any of you rockers is able to make it to Mammoth Caves, I'll be here for the next week. Meet me here and let's scavenge together. That said, he wasn't sure if he should pack everything up and drag it down straight away or give it an hour or two and wait to see if anyone showed. Tours lasted between 2 and 2.5 hours. It was nearly guaranteed to take him longer due to being on crutches and carrying weight in his backpack. If he went now, by the time almost anyone could reach him, he could come back up and meet them there. On the other hand, if there were people who were closer at hand than he thought, he'd risk missing them or confusing them. He decided to stay in the parking lot for at least another hour, monitoring the Discord chat and seeing what came across his feed. What's another hour in the grand scheme of things, Finn? He asked the monkey. That's when his stomach began to rumble and he was reminded of how long it had been since he last ate. Maybe looking for food first wouldn't be the worst idea. He grabbed his gear and hobbled down the steps toward the guest area, hoping they would have a food court, or at least an area where snacks could be purchased. He was starving. 350 pounds a man doth not live on bread alone, he said to himself, and I've been living on less than that for the last 12 hours. Fall leaves covered the parking lot on both sides as he made his way down the stairs. The parking lot was beginning to fill up with people. He wouldn't have thought there would be so many visitors with school fully in session, but then again, it had been years since he'd had any reason to pay attention to school schedules. He wondered if it might be some holiday of sort. Maybe a bank holiday or something like that. He pulled out his phone. Google, is today a holiday? Today is National Public Lands Day, as well as National Hunting and Fishing Day. Is there anything else you would like to know? The voice said. Nah, that explains it, he said, heading inside. And now we're switching up. We are tackling Seymour Duncan. I think actually I read this on the last stream, so I may not. We got 2 minutes. We've got 1 minute, so I guess I don't need to finish that. But whew, we are catching up to where we left off. All right, folks, this has been an awesome stream. I thank you guys for being here with me. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the work that we have done together over these last, 12 weeks now. Next week, we will be going and working more toward the end. So you guys it will be more of an interactive stream instead of just you guys listening to me read. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I am looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Monday for the art stream. And art stream this time, up until now, we have been working on the Rise of the Techno Savior album, and it's really been you guys watching me do art. Monday is starting an interactive stream where I'm going to be inviting your participation in choices of subject matter, settings, colors, whole lot of things, so it should be way more fun from this point forward. Hope to catch y'all later. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.